Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Jury Duty, a Big Brother podcast.
Wee.
I am John Dunphy, and I am joined by Gina Morgino and Kyle Petty. And we have quite a bit to talk about, guys. I think
Nice to talk about.
it's been a great first week, though. I guess it seems like almost like the informal title of this episode is "What the French," because
Seriously, what the French indeed.
Oh man. We should we're obviously we're coming to you after the live eviction, but we should talk really briefly about the veto meeting and the veto competition. So we watched that, and the result was Derek X taking home the veto, right? And he took off Kylan from the block. So what do we think? Is that like the smartest thing for Derek X's game to take Kylan off the block?
All right. So, okay. Derek X is on whose team? I know you guys keep better track of this than I. So Derek X is on whose team?
He is on the Aces with
The Aces.
Whitney, Brent, and Hannah.
Whitney, Brent, and Hannah. Now, Kylan is with who?
Now just Claire and Tiffany, because Travis is no longer.
Right. So I wasn't sure that Derek X made the right decision. And I was like, okay, so I know that you're kind of going along with what Frenchie wanted, which in itself, I'm really not sure is ever the right decision.
See, the thing is, though, like, that wasn't totally what Frenchie wanted. I know that, like, based on what we saw on Wednesday, it was, but there was so much, like, going back and forth that week that, like, there was a whole period of time where Frenchie was begging him not to use the veto at all.
Oh,
we
there
just
was?
didn't see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was Frenchie's reason for not wanting the veto to be used? Because then who did he want to go if he didn't want it used?
It was, it's a whole thing. So at one point, there was a conversation in the HOH between Kylan, Frenchie, and Xavier. And Frenchie was basically just trying to reassure Kylan, listen, if you stay up, like, no matter what, you will 100% unanimously not be going home. To which Kylan responded, well, I was also told 100% I wasn't going to go up at all, which Frenchie did not like. Because,
of course he didn't like it.
Oh, he went around telling everybody in the house, oh, Kylan flew off the handle. He snapped at me for no reason. I've never been spoken to like that in my whole life. Maybe we should, switch it up and get him out of here. So this resulted in him then having a conversation with Xavier in which Xavier was trying to tell him, listen, don't flip the script too much. Don't, like, throw in this, like, random switch up of the plan. Like, you know how far we plan to go in this game. To which Frenchie thought that he was now being threatened. So that was this whole big blow up, which then caused him to beg Derek X for the rest of the night, trying to convince him, look, using the veto isn't the best thing for your game. You don't want to do that. And he was like, no, well, I already kind of spoke to Kylan and promised him that I was going to take him down. So it would be best for my game to actually take him down, which then proceeded for a couple of more hours, which resulted in the screenshot that I sent to you yesterday of at 5:00 in the morning, poor Derek X is just trying to go to bed. And Frenchie crawled in with him to whisper into his ear as he went to bed, listen, just sleep on it. Like, think about it. It'll be fine. Like, you don't know. Maybe we don't use it. It'll be fine.
Well, here's what I think about Derek X using the veto. I don't know if it's the best move for his game, but I selfishly am happy about it because I freaking love Kylan.
Sure.
Oh my god.
I do. I love him.
And it's not even like I wanted Alyssa to go home at any point like that. I just didn't want Kylan to be in danger.
Alyssa's fine in my book,
Oh yeah, I like Alyssa. I like Alyssa a lot. She's very pretty.
Is she? Is she? She does nothing for my couple.
I think,
she's gorgeous. Are you kidding me?
I think she is.
Alyssa?
Just stunning.
Really?
Kyle, you're alone in this, honey.
Here's the thing. I totally understand what you're saying, right? You think it was the right move for Derek X to use the veto. I'm not so sure 100% because of like those goodbye messages. Like, would Derek X have done this again if he knew it was going to mean that Kylan comes off, but Travis goes up and goes home? When in the goodbye messages, like, Derek X is saying, Travis, you were my best friend in the house, and this and that. Like, to lose your best friend of the house in week one,
right.
or is Derek X just saying
right?
that?
But I still say it's week one though. Anybody's your best friend when you're supposed to meet them.
No.
They were very buddy over like the last week or so. So I would say that he maybe would have been his closest ally, but he's pretty close with Kylan too, from what I've seen.
Right. And that's why I feel like, I don't know if it was a good move, but like, I don't think it puts Derek X in a bad spot whatsoever. So,
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I there's a part of me, I'm not saying that Travis is not smart. I'm not saying he's not. Like, I understand he had a startup, he sold it, made a lot of money, good for him. There's something about Alyssa that does strike me as like very intelligent. I don't know. I support this one. I'm here for Kylan.
I'm thrilled with the outcome of this episode. So obviously it was just very funny because with all that we've seen this week and what we discussed on the last podcast about Frenchie, just to see that inside that house, there are a good, amount of people in that house that have all replaced the F word with French, some variation of his name, which it just warms my heart to see them all bonding over that, So
it's really fun. It's really fun.
I think because Gina, I remember it was one of your Instagram stories, I think, where you were talking about how you needed to literally make a map for all the alliances that were branching off and stuff. And then right away we start to see these two very different alliances pop up. Like, I'm definitely, because you were watching and getting such a great view inside the house of all the feeds and stuff, I would definitely love to see
Ooh.
Oh wow, look at this. This is fantastic.
Coming prepared.
I found this before things were like clear to me. Obviously we got the Jokers, we have the Aces. Who else do we have? Hold on.
Jokers, Aces, Kings, Queens.
We had the Kings and Queens. When I first found this, I was like, what the hell is a slaughterhouse?
So this is a tad bit outdated at this point.
I did want to bring this up so we can at least get into a conversation about the cookout. Okay, because I'm excited about the cookout. I'm excited because we've never had this many people of color in the house to do something like that. I also sort of chuckle at the fact that Hannah is an unofficial member. I really do hope that Gina can shed some light on the Butchers.
Right. So it's so interesting to me that Slaughterhouse just came up in today's episode. And I really think that the editors are doing us a disservice by making Frenchie look a little bit more on top of things than he actually is. Because the whole Slaughterhouse issue has been happening since, I'd say, like night 1 or 2. He had this big idea of like a big alliance, the Slaughterhouse with a core alliance in the middle of it called the Butchers. And that's the real alliance, and the Slaughterhouse is like the extraneous people that kind of help them get to where they need to go. But up until really tonight's episode, because they had that meeting that they aired in tonight's episode like 10 minutes before we started recording last time. And up until that point, I did not know who was in the Slaughterhouse, and neither did Frenchie. Because what was happening was he was going up to pretty much everybody in the house, like, listen, I have this great idea. We're going to have an alliance. We're going to call it the Slaughterhouse. It's going to be this great thing. And was basically telling everybody about this concept that he had for this big alliance. And even when he was pulling people in to have that official meeting in the HOH room, he was going up to people that he remembered talking about it with, but then would remember that, like, oh, I don't actually want this person in the alliance. So I remember specifically Sarah Beth, there was a moment where he was talking to her like, yeah, so we're going to, hold on a minute. And then just kind of like left and never came back because he realized, wait, I've talked to her about this, but also I don't really want her in it. So like the Slaughterhouse as a concept is something that everyone pretty much knows about already. I just don't know if it's been named to them. I'm not quite sure why some people aren't fully aware of it.
Wow.
But messy.
It's really wild because I do remember hearing, I guess, I don't know if it was from watching the feeds or just talking to you, Gina, but I know that I had heard Slaughterhouse before. And it was almost surprising that it came back tonight. It's like, wait, I think I haven't heard about this in a while.
A couple of days in Big Brother time is weeks.
I know. Everything just moves so fast.
I know. So wait, so the Butchers are within the Slaughterhouse. That's
I don't quite know if the Butchers...
What is it? Alyssa, Brent, and Whitney?
I don't quite know if the Butchers is official. It seemed like they just made the slaughterhouse official, but the butchers is an idea that he has of like, and these are my core people that I'm actually working with. Because even he said in tonight's edit something along the lines of like, I have people in the slaughterhouse I don't fully trust. I just want them to be working with me.
Right.
So I think the butchers is more like the actual people that he does trust with his game. And then the slaughterhouse is just to kind of get them to the point that they need to be at.
Okay. So we saw the slaughterhouse getting formed on this episode tonight, but then we also immediately after, because we see Frenchie talking to the fans, right? He was talking to the cameras, saying, I have to make sure I'm protected on all sides. So what does he do? He tries to make the creepiest alliance possible.
I hate it so much.
This I hated with such a passion. I've
been dreading talking about it because I knew it was going to show up in an episode somewhere, and I just haven't wanted to deal with it.
Let's go.
It's just really crazy. But so you could see like they were obviously playing along with it, but we saw right away in those the diary room sessions from Azah and Tiffany that they were not really having it at all. Like they were just they clearly do not trust him at all, but he just keeps going around the house and ruffling feathers, and it's
the thing about Azah is that she has to trust him because for right now she's on his team.
Yeah.
Like what is she gonna do? Yeah.
And who else was out there? Who else was out there with them? It was
so that was Azah, Claire, Hannah, Tiffany, and Frenchie, and then they talked about getting Sarah Beth in on it as well.
Huh. I don't understand. Like less than a weekend, because how many people were in the slaughterhouse? It was a lot of people. And then you have
8 or so.
And then you have these people.
There's a lot of people in the slaughterhouse. Like that's the issue.
Yeah, like this is a lot of people to have all these
slaughterhouse is Frenchie, Kylan, Christian, Derek F, Xavier, Alyssa, Brent, and Whitney.
And what's so interesting to me is that because Frenchie is such a super fan, he should know that these giant alliances starting from the very beginning always crash and burn. So I don't know what he intended.
But at the same time, though, Jeans, like, I don't know. Like we discussed last time, like, so many of these large alliances that start in the beginning, they have been making it to the end. Old Big Brother, I feel like that wasn't the thing, but now... I don't know, like, look at what happened on All Stars.
Yeah.
Will it be a case, though, of like, Frenchie got this whole thing started, but he screwed up so bad that he got sent home. So he doesn't benefit from this huge alliance he formed.
I'm going to be so honest, though.
That would be so delicious to me.
I'm going to be so honest, though. I don't think he's in any immediate danger.
See, that's what I was thinking after tonight's episodes. I was writing this down because I'm thinking to myself, he's the biggest target that you could possibly have. Who's going to get rid of him? He's a shield to everybody.
I said this to my roommate last night. What I said was the issue with this is that when somebody is a target so hard in the very, very beginning, what they're able to do is say, hey, it's better to keep me in it because I'm a bigger target than you. And then they kind of just skate away. And then we end up not talking about them again until jury.
Right.
It's just so interesting to me because it's like Frenchie, we've watched him be so frantic and all over the place this whole week, making these wild moves, and it's weirdly working for him. Like I don't understand. He's in all of these alliances. He's got final twos with like, what is it? He has a final two with Brent, Christian, Whitney, people. And Derek F. He's got 4 final twos after all this.
Like, look, so he's in the Jokers. We got Brunchy. Final 2. Where else is he? Because he's in a number of other places.
Well, so didn't he have something with Derek F too?
Not according to this graphic.
Yeah, he has a final 2 with Derek F, a final 2 with Christian, and a final 2 with Whitney.
Oh my god!
Which is like,
I gotta tell you,
insane.
I'm starting to not like Whitney so much. I'm starting to go that way. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. There's something about her. I liked her at first, and then I was kind of wishy-washy, and now I'm just leaning in the opposite direction.
I'm not ready to give up on my Whitney. Okay, I'm not gonna give up on her.
I don't feel good about her.
No. I feel like she doesn't know what she's doing.
Maybe she's all right. I don't know.
No, she could totally suck. Like, I don't know. Like, I could just be smitten with her. Like, I just think she's gorgeous. Like, what do I know about her? I don't know. I don't know this girl.
And just for my records here, what was this? The name of this alliance that Frenchie wanted to form with the girls?
They,
missed
I
it.
believe, are referred to as the French kisses.
Ugh.
Yeah,
I
that.
really,
It's awful. It's awful.
really, honestly, really makes me want to vomit.
Really
I'm not gonna
awful.
lie.
I'm a little upset that I just had to say those words out loud to someone.
Listen,
I'm not. I love it.
in the last episode, I distinctly remember saying, this is what's so disappointing. Like, this was such a great episode. I love this episode. But what's so disappointing is that I distinctly remember saying in the last episode that Frenchie was my odds-on favorite to go home next week. And now with what we were just saying about him being literally the biggest shield that anyone's ever seen in this game. Like,
no, I'm still holding out hope because again, we're watching so much of this later. Like they're saying what they're saying to him because they don't want to be put up. Now that that's not a thing, I'm really, really curious to see like what's going on.
Right.
And I would love to reconvene next week and be like, you know what?
Oh my God.
I was right.
You know what's going to be so interesting? This is going to be so interesting to me. We, in the week coming up here, we're going to get to see Frenchie interact with these two huge alliances that he made in this very first week. He's now going to be interacting with them for the first time. He's probably going to still feel like the leader, but he's not the HOH anymore. Like
this new female alliance that's come out, he's already blown it up.
Of course he has. Like,
I think it was a few hours after creating it, he went to Alyssa, who is not in it, and was trying to explain to her how all of the women in the house, or I'm sorry, all of the females in the house have approached him and forced him into this group alliance that he's not quite sure he wants to be in, but they all approached him. All the ladies in the house just really wanted to be in this alliance with him.
Meanwhile, the girls are just like, I don't know that we should be. Why do we have a man in a women's alliance?
What is fun for me is that alliance has now become all of the women on the side talking about how much they don't like Frenchie, but sometimes they invite him in and pretend to be partners with him.
Wow.
The only issue I have with that is that that's not really good TV because we saw it coming. So like,
right, I don't want to see him, but at the same time, the feeds have been just TV gold this week.
So what I thought was interesting, Travis made a play to save himself, right, on this episode. Went into the HOH room and he tried to save himself. And for a bit, Brent even said it in the HOH room to Frenchie after Travis left. He said, that's a good argument. And Frenchie looked like he was considering it. And we know that Frenchie had already felt very guilty. Felt guilty. Here's the other. Okay, you know what? Actually, hold on a second. I got so tired of Travis being like, oh, I'm so surprised Frenchie went back on his word. He thought he was a man of his word. He promised the first four in the house they were safe. It's like he put Kylan and Alyssa up. Those are already two people he broke his word to. What do you mean? You're the third person that's ended up on the block who Frenchie broke his word to. So why are you so shocked? But anyway, Travis makes a play to save himself, goes to the HOH room, and things are looking a little better for him. Not so good for Alyssa, maybe. And I felt like I mentioned to you guys before, I felt terrible for Alyssa because she got like accused of being in a showman she wasn't in, and that set her on the block. And then Derek X uses the veto on Kylan, so she's still stuck up there. And now Travis is making this case, and she had just said, we had just seen her in a little recording of her diary room session, how she was happy to be in the slaughterhouse because she's on the block. So now she feels like she has some people, some votes. And immediately, what do we see? Frenchie going, well, I could always just save Travis and replace Alyssa in the slaughterhouse with him. Like, and I'm just thinking to myself, poor girl,
And she said it herself. She's like, I'm in a terrible position and none of it is my fault. I didn't do anything to get here.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. And that's why if there's a battle back, I would have voted for her to come back. She totally got screwed here. She totally got screwed.
Yeah.
But glad to see her stay.
Definitely.
I love that Kylan is now HOH, especially after having been on the block and then removed. It's like, he's literally the only one who is on the block and removed. Like, it is the most exciting way for this to go. Yeah.
I also love Kylan as HOH, and I wrote in my notes, I said, Kylan wins HOH and gets a happy birthday from Julie. Right? So that was really awesome. I did think, we were just talking about how we think Frenchie will probably find a way to survive with, how big of a target he is. That'll probably maybe buy him some time. Hopefully not. Maybe they'll send him right out. Maybe we'll get what we want.
Hopefully not. Here's what I'm hoping for the week ahead. I would expect Kylan to be nice enough to not put Frenchie on the block right away.
Oh my goodness.
And that he's going to put whoever he puts up. But then if somebody wins veto, if somebody convinced him to put Frenchie up, that he would then do it because he did put him up.
Right.
But I feel like it would only have to be like a backdoor situation. Like there's a part of me that kind of feels like Kylan wouldn't just do that on his own.
It's honestly, it's so funny like that you're saying this because I literally wrote down, I said, will Kylan nominate Frenchie? Kylan seems like too nice of a person to nominate someone out of a feeling of like revenge. Like, sure, he put me up. I think that Kylan is, first of all, seems like a great person, a very genuine person, but also seems like he's going to do whatever he thinks is best for his game. Rather than taking the way of like, oh, you put me up, I put you up. I think he'll play smarter than that. I think if the House wanted Frenchie out, I think he'd probably at least strongly consider going that way.
Yeah, right. Just go for it. Like, why not? Why not? Yeah. It's a harmless HOH.
Right.
Jeans, what do you think?
I really am not sure what I think he's going to do because it depends to me how close he is with his team, because I have heard a lot of conversations between Claire and Tiffany that they are really looking to target Brent. But
really,
because both Brent and Kylan are a part of the slaughterhouse, I don't know whether or not I see that happening. Because there's also a situation
and Claire and Tiffany are not part of the slaughterhouse?
No, and the slaughterhouse was looking like Claire was going to be their next target.
Oh.
Really?
But Kylan can't target Claire because she's on his team. So I'm really not sure where this is going to go.
Those goodbye messages tonight, I feel like had a lot of stuff in them. Between Tiffany and Brent, they both mentioned that there was some kind of plan that failed to save Travis. They both said that. And I know that they had like talked. There was that brief conversation in the room I saw with Tiffany, Travis, and who else was in that room with them?
The Queen's team.
Okay. I'm just very interested because I feel like Frenchie thinks that he set himself up in a great spot. And I feel like Frenchie's not the HOH anymore, but he is at the center of all of these groups that he has unnecessarily formed. And now he has to deal with them, but also he doesn't have any leverage because he has no power anymore. And I'm just so interested to see what happens. Yeah.
Excited and interested. I love all of it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really, really interesting. Did I hear this incorrectly, or did Julie mention at the end of the episode that this week coming up for the wild card competition, there's going to be something that might relate to players potentially changing teams? Did you hear that? Did you guys hear that?
Yes, she did say that. She said something about if you win the wild card competition or to keep safety or something, you have to like switch teams.
Right. And I heard that, and I was like, wait a minute.
I missed
that. That is really exciting. Yeah.
Right. So
I think love that.
Yeah, there are a lot of things to really look out for this week, I think.
I can't wait for Sunday. I can't wait.
I have one last thing that I want to say. Julie looked great in that interview chair tonight, right? Wasn't it great to see her back in that interview chair? I was watching the interview.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was a little too casual for the first eviction.
You think?
Yeah, for me.
Honestly, I was just so happy to see her up on the stage interviewing like a newly evicted house guest.
Yes,
just so good. It was like
that was wonderful. It was wonderful.
It just felt like we are in full swing now. It just sucked not to have the live audience there, but
I missed that. I definitely missed that.
It feels so awkward without them.
Yeah, I missed it.
All right. Well, I love this episode. Crazy first week. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode 2 of Jury Duty, a Big Brother podcast. It's been a great first week of our podcast and of the new season, and cannot wait to keep bringing you our content as we watch the show together. So thank you for listening and for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.